national anthem performed by staff of the U.S. Embassy in Freetown, commemorating July 4th, 1776, marking the complete U.S. independence from British rule almost 2.5 centuries ago. This is the 247th independence anniversary of the United States of America. The U.S. ambassador to Sierra Leone, David Reimer, says the Declaration of Independence in the U.S. holds deep significance for all of those who cherish freedom and democracy. With democracy being one of the shared values between the United States and Sierra Leone, the U.S. Embassy in Freetown also used the event to reaffirm on camera its stance and commitment to the joint statement with other foreign missions on the just concluded June 24 elections in Sierra Leone.
The signing of the Declaration of Independence marked the birth of the United States of America as an independent nation. But it was also the first formal statement by citizens declaring their right to choose their own government and those who would govern them. A fundamental part of democracy for us in the United States and in other democracies in the world is the right of citizens to come together to vote for the government. Elections are the cornerstone of every democracy. Elections make a government responsive and accountable to its citizens. Sierra Leone just went through its own elections, and I'm left with a number of impressions. The first is the strength and the resiliency of the Sierra Leonean voter. On election day, I drove around Freetown and I visited a number of polling centers. Many of the voters I saw had been standing in line patiently for hours in the hot sun, waiting for their chance to vote. I suspect that voters in my country would not have displayed the same perseverance and determination that I saw here in Sierra Leone. And I'm so impressed by the citizenry of Sierra Leone. Efforts by the government of Sierra Leone to increase representation by women in the political process should likewise be commended. I'd also like to applaud the work of election observers, both domestic and international, for the critical and difficult work they've done in the country these past few days and weeks. However, while we applaud the people of Sierra Leone, I think we have to honestly acknowledge the shortfalls that were on display as well. These include logistical problems on voting day, the reason people had to stand in line for hours, and the lack of visibility and transparency during the tabulation process. I won't dwell on these, but I would like to call on the government of Sierra Leone to address these issues. Transparency leads credibility to outcomes in democratic elections and instills confidence in the citizens that their voices have been heard. In saying this, I'm not saying that our democracy is perfect. It's not. In the United States, we like to say that we continue to strive for a more perfect union, a phrase that comes from the preamble to our Constitution.
However, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mamadi Gobe Kamara, disputes the joint stance by the international community that questions the transparency of Sierra Leone's 2023 multi-tier elections and wished the U.S. a happy Independence Day celebration on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone.
His Excellency President Bio was re-elected and sworn in last week for his second and final term in office in a free, fair, transparent, and peaceful elections. Our young democracy is maturing fast, and we thank your great country for its support towards this goal. Sierra Leone has enjoyed strong and enduring relations with the United States since our country's independence. These ties extend to many areas of cooperation, including consistent economic, technical, and diplomatic support to our country. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in celebrating the National Day of the United States, we acknowledge the tremendous sacrifices made by generations of Americans who have fought for these cherished values. The bravery and determination of the men and women who have served in the military, defending liberty both at home and abroad, must never be forgotten. Their dedication and services serves as a reminder of the responsibility all nations share in safeguarding their democracy, peace, and security principles that the people of America holds dear. It is worth mentioning that the United States has always been at the forefront of promoting democracy and human rights, serving as an example to the world. However, as we engage in celebrating this day, we must acknowledge the challenges our world is facing. Our global secure society is confronted with complex issues such as the Russia-Ukraine war, climate change, and the threats of pandemic like the COVID-19 we recently faced. Addressing these challenges requires solidarity and collaboration, and it is in this spirit that we look forward to continue to work closely with the U.S. and assure you of our commitment at all times as a government for strengthened partnership and cooperation. As we commemorate this all-important day, we are reminded of the strong ties that exist between Sierra Leone and the United States of America. I want to reaffirm our government's commitment to the strong leadership between the two countries.
Salifu Charna Kamara, AYV News.